Welcome along to the latest episode of Meet the Manufacturers podcast, brought to you by ManufactureCT. Now, on this episode, my special guest is Brian Weinstein, who is the president of Chapco. Now, Chapco was founded back in 1964 and is a contract manufacturing partner specializing in precision sheet metal fabrication, CNC machining, welding and finishing, and contract assembly. Now, back in January, Chapco announced their plans to move from Chester to a new state-of-the-art 150,000 square foot manufacturing facility in Deep River. Now, I'm excited to find out more, not just about the history and their work, but also of that new building and expansion. So, Brian, welcome to Meet the Manufacturers.
Thank you very much. Excited to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you. Thank you so much. So let's kick it off. Tell me a little bit about the story behind the company's founding and what pivotal moments have kind of shaped you to get to this point just before you embark on this new building.
Sure. So the company was founded, like you said, in 1964 as a machine shop. My father purchased it out of Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 1987. I think there was about 12 employees at the time, and legend has it that he would do quotes while running one of the machines on a card table out in the factory floor. Fast forward to 2000, he and I had never really talked about working together, but I was working in Hartford, looking for a job, building a house down here, just had a child. He lost his expediter, and we decided to work together for a short stint to help each other out. And 26 years later, here I still am, loving being part of the manufacturing ecosystem here in Connecticut. But I ended up buying the company from him in 2013. And then I guess in 2023, started doing some defense work, which really prompted us to make some big hires in 2024 with a new COO and a new quality manager, and then get ISO certified last year.
Amazing.
So yeah, over the last few years, really growing from a regional sheet metal job shop to a company that's much, much more capable in terms of what we do from a metal fab standpoint, but also, like you mentioned, full assembly, test, and fulfill as well.
Incredible. What a story. So you're the president, which is the big cheese, so to speak. Tell us a little bit about what does it look like on a day-to-day? I mean, what is an average day? I know there's no such thing, but
right.
What would people be surprised to learn about being the president of Chapco?
I don't know what they'd be surprised to learn. Now is just crazy because we're moving into this new facility. So I tend to be a little entrepreneurial and love the thought of growing and expanding and just doing more for more people. I spend a lot of my day business development, working with customers. Also very involved in the move here. So we moved from 3 small buildings a few miles away to now this much larger building. So where are we putting the people? What upgrades are we making to the building? How is the material going to flow? What does it look like out in the factory floor? Working on all of that with the team, and then also getting involved a bit with operations and helping to solve problems. And then, of course, as president and CEO, just working a lot on culture and employees and just, all becoming one big happy family in this new building, which is interesting because for the last 10 years, we've been in 3 buildings. So 2.5 cultures, and there are people that have worked for Chapco for years and not everybody knows everybody. So just really working on bringing it together and almost resetting the culture now that we're able to all be together under one.
We're going to touch on culture later. I'm kind of curious. Okay, so you've not got a huge distance to move, but logistically, how is that going to work? I mean, I'm just curious, really, from a human standpoint now. I mean, that's a lot of vans, machinery, people. I mean, wow.
It is. And we've done a lot ourselves. Our team has been amazing. So we had a 40,000 square foot assembly building. So we were able to move everything out of there, tons of benches and work in process and finished goods and all the offices. For the larger machines, we're having riggers and our machine manufacturer actually do some of the commissioning, decommissioning and recommissioning, and then just a lot of work done to the building here. We originally thought that we were just going to kind of move in and see what happens. I kind of decided that while it was empty, we should do as much as we could, and that in 3 years, we would be remiss if we didn't epoxy all the floors and paint all the walls and do all the cleaning and relight the building and do all that. So when you walk in, it's just a much, much nicer presentation.
I'm excited to see it. Now, you are having an open house June 10th, I believe.
We are
very
indeed.
much looking forward to that. No pressure, but just make sure you're ready for us. We're coming. June 11th. The event will be on the website shortly. It's happening.
I know. And we keep talking about putting some sort of countdown timer because there's still so much to do. We moved so much that and kept production going. So it's hard to clean while we're doing that.
Yeah.
So everything is here in the new building except for a couple machines. And now it's just time to start tightening it all up and getting it to run a bit smoother. So I think we have 50 days or something like that to the open house. So
no pressure.
We're getting
no
close
pressure.
to crunch time. Yeah, exactly.
Very much looking forward to it. Now, we did mention it earlier about culture and values. Something that comes up quite often in these podcasts are the multi-generational organizations, the family. It feels like working with your family as literally within an organization. Talk to me a little bit about the culture and values that you have at Chapco.
Yeah, so we try to walk the line between being a family business with a lot of flexibility and a lot of communication, but also being a larger company with processes that we all have to follow. So I wouldn't say it's been a struggle, but it's something that we keep talking about, that we want to be different than the large companies. From a workforce standpoint, we compete against some of the large companies in our area, and our differentiation really has to be culture, how we treat our employees, how we communicate with our employees, what some of those benefits are. Like, for instance, in the new building, there's an area for a gym. So we're going to, in the next few weeks, put together a workout area for employees. Outside of that will be a fun play area with a pool table, a ping pong table, some foosball, where employees could get together and just interact during breaks, lunch, before, after work. So we're trying to do those things, but then also from a task standpoint, have those processes in place so we can grow significantly over the next few years and grow with some of the larger OEMs in the state and in the country. So it's walking that fine line, but we're paying a lot of attention to that. And it's really important to us. We have a lot of employees that have been here a long time, that have become friends. And it's just, part of what I love about running this business.
Yeah. How fantastic. I love the idea of an on-site gym and table tennis. I'd be all over that.
I know.
So you came for a short stint. You've stayed for a quarter of a century. Talk about the evolution. I mean, how has manufacturing at Chapco changed during your tenure there? And what's been the hardest change to navigate?
I think the customers, and over the last few years, or the last probably decade, we've had a lot of our large customers go elsewhere. We had one customer bring it all in. We had one customer that does everything now in the Philippines, one of our large customers, Mexico, one of our large, Puerto Rico. So it's really replacing those customers and just doing a lot of business development and finding partners who we can grow with, and partners that are looking to now onshore, right? Because there was a big push to move stuff away from Connecticut. And now it seems like there's a pull to bring them back, which, we're really, working on. And then from a defense standpoint, we've changed our systems and processes quite a bit to be able to take on defense work. So we're doing a lot for Electric Boat, and I'm getting a lot more involved in the submarine industrial base, the maritime industrial base. And one of our strategic objectives is just to take on a lot more defense work. So that has significantly changed everything about how Chapco works. Because before, we were a regional sheet metal job shop working for regional Connecticut companies. So a bit easier back then, but, a lot of fun now. And it's interesting, the difference an employee making an electrical box versus making parts for a nuclear submarine, or making parts, the housings for a missile defense system, or on the commercial side, network and infrastructure cooling system, stuff like that. Like some neat stuff that's in the news that we're a part of, which is really exciting.
Real cutting edge technology stuff. And Connecticut has got such a rich history in manufacturing, historically. What makes Connecticut a compelling or challenging place to run a manufacturing business in 2026?
I think from a compelling standpoint, Connecticut supports manufacturing. We've got the chief manufacturing officer, a lot of funding and a lot of help available. We've applied for the DECD funding, some funding through CCAT. We've worked with Constep to help get our ISO certification. And then there's a lot of great OEMs here, right? I mean, there's Electric Boat, there's Pratt, there's Sikorsky. There's just a really great manufacturing ecosystem. And I personally think the quality of life here in Connecticut is just amazing. I work in obviously Deep River and live in Essex, and this is just an amazing part of the world to live and work in. But obviously it also makes it difficult because it is not an inexpensive cost region. And when we're competing, with customers up in Buffalo or other parts of the country, we've got to get a little bit more creative on how we manufacture parts, because the costs are high, whether it's energy costs, healthcare costs, regulations. From that standpoint, not the easiest place to do business, but we play with the cards we're dealt and do what we can.
Enjoy the view and enjoy the sound.
Exactly right.
Thinking about technology and innovation, thinking about emerging technologies that are having sort of the biggest real world impact at the moment. How are new technologies kind of enmeshing with what you're doing at the moment, and how are you embracing them?
I think so AI, obviously, everybody's talking about. We're doing a little bit of AI from a marketing standpoint, and maybe to help address various questions or problems here. And then also machine automation. We've got a couple machines that are fully automated that have really just made the workplace safer and less risky. We've got a machine, actually two machines, that automatic load and unload sheets and sort the parts when they're complete. So no longer are people shaking out parts and working that much with parts that might be sharp and dangerous. The machine is doing that for you. So that's been great. And we're trying to figure out what more menial tasks can be done through automation. A lot of material handling, I think, because
for sure.
You still need, the experience and the intelligence of the humans and the users out there to set up the press brakes and engineer the press brakes and make the programs and run the laser machines and stuff like that. So I don't think that will ever be gone, but certainly more of the menial and more dangerous tasks. We're looking for some of that machine automation.
I think some of my personal experience with AI, certainly in the last sort of 3-4 years, has been that there's still a lot of hope for humans, because we're still very much needed, but it's useful and it's in its right.
No, 100% right. Yeah, if you use it right, it's very useful. We're not going too crazy with it yet.
Exactly. Workforce. We talked a little bit about obviously doing business in Connecticut. It is not the cheapest state to live, work, or run a business. But what are some of the other workforce challenges that you have identified? Are there any talent or skill gaps that you're facing, and how are you navigating them?
Yeah, definitely. Being down in Deep River, Connecticut, not close to any real city, we struggle a little bit with workforce. So again, we're going to be out soon because we're looking to hire a few people on social media and really talking about culture and what it's like to work here at Chapco. But there's definitely an issue in this area. And we're also competing against some of the larger manufacturers, one in Chester, one in Westbrook, and then also Electric Boat, who is job fairs looking for thousands and thousands of people and paying them lots and lots of money. So we need to differentiate ourselves, but it's a challenge for sure. And we want to grow, and we need to grow in this new building, and in some of the marketplaces that we're looking at. So we certainly expect that to be a challenge going forward.
Do you liaise with or work with any of the sort of the technical colleges locally to cherry pick, I guess, new talent coming out of education?
We do. We work with a couple local colleges as well as some high schools. So if there are high school students that aren't going to go on to 4-year education, manufacturing is a great place to go. I think it used to be thought of as this, dirty career.
Yeah.
If you look at some of, certainly our place and, some of our competitors, it is not dirty. It is,
no.
Just really nice companies to make a good living. So we're really trying to push that as well.
It's one of the old stigmas that I think is breaking down.
Yes.
I think we've made a lot of inroads. We've been doing this podcast now for, nearly 3-4 years. And I think in the beginning, it was really about sort of breaking down those barriers and explaining that we are not talking about Victorian workhouses, guys.
Right.
Some of these places look like operating theaters. I mean, they are so high tech, they are so clean, and they offer an opportunity into a full career and long career where you can evolve and develop your skills. And hopefully the stigma's finally gone about manufacturing.
For sure. And there's so much to do in manufacturing, right? I mean, it's everything from running machines to setting up machines to getting into finance, customer service, shop scheduling, maintenance, shipping, receiving. There's just so many things that you can do with a career in manufacturing. And we've had a bunch of people who have started here that were never in manufacturing, that maybe started in the front office and then went out to the floor and have just evolved, which is really exciting to see.
It is. And it's a story we hear quite often on the podcast. And also one of the things I think I love about manufacturing is that, you go to work, you can physically visibly see what you have done in your day. You're creating something and you can say, I did that. Do you know what I mean? That is for me, I think one of the real highlights for people who like to do things and actually see what they've created. So
well, it's interesting that you say that, because we're trying to highlight that more and more with the products that we make. Because a lot of people, cutting on the laser, they're just cutting a piece of sheet metal and then it goes to bend and they bend it and they don't really know what they're doing. But if we show them that at the end, one of the products that we make is a UV light tower that goes into hospitals, right? And truly saves lives. It's just awesome for the employees to be able to see that, this once dirty piece of aluminum that you laser cut is now part of the housing for this unit that is being sold into hospitals to save lives.
Incredible.
So really
incredible.
Neat.
It is. That's really good to see the full picture, the whole journey of what they're doing. Thinking about supply chain, obviously we had this little thing called COVID a while back. It was a bit of a hiccup. It was a bit of a world hiccup. What lasting lessons did you learn, I guess, about supply chain issues? And did you learn anything through the disruption? Was there disruption?
Yeah, definitely disruption. I think it's, more about having multiple sources, more about having more partnerships and just getting to know your customers and your vendors better. So when there is something like that, whether it's COVID or something else, you're all working together to solve it. And we try to do that. We really try to partner with our customers and our suppliers to really get to know them and let them know us for when there is some issue or large disruption that lasts for years, we're able to continuously work together on it.
Those relationships, they need to be solid. They really do.
They do.
Yeah. No, it's a nice take. Yeah. How important are your environmental and sustainability targets? Are they a big part of your strategic thinking?
No, I don't want to say no. It's not. We have nothing formal. I mean, it's certainly important, but we have no formal program. We relit the whole building. So I think all 150,000 square feet got relit with high energy efficient LED, all on motion sensors. We just bought a new energy efficient compressor. So everything that we buy new, we're doing everything we can to get energy efficient and just be more sustainable. We have no formal program in process.
It's an action, isn't it, at the end of the day, I suppose. And if you're replacing things with things that are helping you achieve that long-term goal, it's progress, not perfection.
It is. And we have an older, really big array of solar panels up on the roof. So working to try to figure that out with the previous owner, how to get that working to its maximum potential.
Are you going to take it to the new building?
No, it's on the new building. Yeah.
It's on the new building. I was going to say, that would be an impressive removal job. I'd love to see that in action.
So it's on the new building and we're just trying to make it more effective. So we're definitely paying attention to it, but really nothing formal.
Gotcha. Thinking about customer expectations, obviously you're talking about the difference in the customers and the contracts that you are now trying to get, particularly with the defense thing. How are customer demands changing and how is that shaping how you manufacture or deliver your products?
A, I think customers are more demanding, and B, they're harder to get a hold of. So we feel like at the beginning, we really need to give them what the expectations should be and set a process to get them what they want when they need it ahead of time, because there just doesn't seem like an opportunity for that much back and forth during the process. So a lot of upfront conversations, and then we just have to do what we say and say what we do and make sure that we get them parts when we say we're going to do it, because I think customers are probably quicker to make a change and possibly run out of patience.
Gotcha. So less flexibility and more deliver when you say you're going to deliver.
Yeah, definitely. And our COO that's been here a little over 2 years has completely changed how we do business in terms of that type of transparency. Just using our ERP system to the max and being able to look at every job, where it needs to start in what work center process so it can be delivered per what we told the customer, and follow it all along the way. So that's been really, really helpful. And, just tracking all the KPIs along the way.
Along the way, yeah. Fabulous. Thinking about growth and your growth strategy, obviously you're moving to this whopping great big building, which is
Oh,
a big
yeah.
one. But where do you see the biggest opportunities for growth? Is there any new markets, or is it going to be, that real focus on defense moving forward?
Big focus on defense, big focus on network and server infrastructure, and probably robotics as well. And then from an internal Chapco standpoint, focusing on some products that we can build. So not only make the sheet metal components, but purchase the other components and do all the assembly test and actually fulfill for the customer and act as their manufacturing and assembly arm. So really trying to get more of that. We have a tremendous amount of assembly space here and the infrastructure and the people to do it. But like you mentioned, also defense, great opportunity to work with the Electric Boats and the Newport Newses of the world, as well as their subs.
Yeah, exciting times.
It is. It's really exciting.
Thinking about the government policy, should we say, or regulatory changes, policy and regulation, it can be a hindrance and it can be a help. What would be the most helpful changes for you as a Connecticut manufacturer right now?
God, it would have to do with health insurance.
Yeah.
It's just getting to be so onerous and expensive for us to know everything about, the health insurance. It's just been brutal. I would say we spend a lot of time on that, an inordinate amount of time on it, just because we want to do the right thing for our employees. And the prices just seem to go up and up. So we get more and more creative on what we could do. But that's been pretty brutal.
It's a real pinch point.
It is.
For any manufacturers in Connecticut who are listening to this, there is actually a ManufactureCT event happening very shortly on exactly this topic, regaining some control over escalating healthcare costs within the industry. So check it out on the website, ManufactureCT.org. Under events and rock up there, there's some expert panelists who hopefully will be able to lessen the burden a little bit for you.
I am going to make a note as well. Yeah. Yes, thank you.
I'll send it to you, Brian. I'll send it to you.
Yes, please.
Last couple of questions from me, if you don't mind. You kind of, I guess, joined the business after not planning to be in the business, and then you stuck around. What would your advice be for the next generation? What would you say to young people who are considering a career in manufacturing? Maybe they can't afford college, and maybe they're coming out of high school or tech college. What would be your advice that you would give them?
I would just say that it's a great career, and throw out all the thoughts that you have about what manufacturing might be and give it a try. Again, there's so many different things that you can do inside manufacturing. And like you had mentioned earlier, it's just cool to take something and make it and have a product come in and out the door a few weeks later and really make a difference in the world.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, the example of the UV light is fantastic. It's very much a tangible purpose it's serving, and that small part of cutting the laser cutting the metal, you've actually just saved a life. That's kind of cool. I think that's a really nice example.
It is. We also build vacuum robotic vending machines. So like Dippin' Dots is our largest customer. So anytime you see a vending machine out there in the wild selling ice cream, it's probably ours. And if it's selling Dippin' Dots, it's definitely ours. So, also neat for employees around the world to see our product at airports, at rest stops, inside Dave & Buster's, stuff like that. It's just, again, neat to be able to see out there what you make. And when you hear on the news, the nuclear submarines, our largest deterrent, to think that we had a hand in some of those components. It just... Okay,
to the future then. I need you to get your crystal ball out. Okay, I want you to imagine you can predict the future. We're having this conversation in 2030. What would success look like for you and your company and for manufacturing as a whole in Connecticut?
For our company, somewhat lofty goals. I would like to be doing probably double the revenue that we're doing now and splitting that somewhere 50-50 between defense and commercial. Probably adding 10 or 15 people. I know. I just said it out loud, right?
You've made it real.
Yeah, and that's what we're all working towards, and that's why we did this. I say that every time I walk in here still, I get really, really excited about the future, and I also have a anxiety attack. And I guess if I'm nervous and excited about the same thing, maybe we're doing the right thing. But yeah, we're really expecting some significant growth over the next few years. There's a long sales cycle to some of the customers that we're working with and in some of the industries, but I would have to say that that would be where we need to be by 2030.
Let's make it a date. 2030, you and me, we're going to have another catch up and we're going to see, A, if the move went well. We're going to know that actually for the open house
that's for sure.
on June 11th. But we're checking, we'll see how close to that target you are. I wish you all the luck in the world. And thank you so much for your time today and sharing a little bit about Chapco.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. It's been great talking to you.